So Miss Rebecca is going to talk about how to move from being the expert you are to the influencer you can be. Rebecca.
Thank you.
I love all this love.
Thank you, Linda. Well, we started this morning, we were talking about being seen. We were talking about visibility, about really being willing to share our gifts and talents with the world. And we took a moment to kind of sink into that. Pause, breathe, because breathing is wonderful, but it also helps us sink in and listen and receive what is here for us. And one of the things that may have pulled at your heart are those people that you saw outside of your star and wanting to reach more of them. We talked about taking action, taking steps, so stepping forward and shine. I felt like it was a perfect title. Plus, it ties into our book release, leverage, right? Reinforce the message, which is great. So September 18th, that amazing book will come out, and it'll help you discover how you can step forward in multiple ways. We have amazing experts and influencers that are part of this book, empowering you, walking beside you. But one of the big things that they were all charged with in this book was action. What are the actions that we can take? How can we step forward and shine? What are some of the practical and profound things that we can do so that we create a forward momentum or a movement, as Linda would say, in our lives? How do we do that on an ongoing basis? And this is what that book will help you do. So I do hope you put that on your calendar. And one of the things I find when we start looking at reaching all those people around our star, all the people that need us, that are outside of our current sphere of influence, our current reach. Because if we are, let's go back to our star. Oh, and there's my markers. Can everyone see it's in a different place? Okay. Go to my markers. So what goes in the center? That's right, you go in the center with love. But did you notice there's these little lines? This is a shining star. This is a star that's pulsing and reaching out. So it's going to be we should have the yellow stars charts. So they look very similar to the white star charts, but they're yellow that are coming out. Perfect. So you go in the center. And we were talking before about how our people are typically outside of our comfort zone. One of the things I've explored in stepping into media more and more and stepping into a bigger sphere of influence, I've been curious about what is influence? What is an influencer? What makes someone an influencer? Have any of you ever explored that? Voice America has a definition where you have to have a reach of 1 million or more. You need to be someone that people look to as an influencer in a particular area, so you're an expert in an area that people look to you as someone who can give guidance in that particular area, so you're an expert. You have a reach of 1 million or more, and you're someone people go to, and you impact by what you say and share out in the world. That makes you an influencer. And I thought that makes a lot of sense, but I think there's actually an additional piece to that. Because if we only know how to reach people in one way, we're missing all the other ways, all the other places where people are. For example, a lot of times I find people are very comfortable perhaps on stage. This is their sweet spot. This is where they connect with people. This is where they feel that energy. That's where they get the feedback from the audience, and they just love this space and energy. But you put them in front of a camera, you put them on a radio show, and they're not sure how to show up as powerfully. They're still just as gifted as they were. They're still the amazing expert that they were, but they haven't learned the way to navigate powerfully in these other places. So their reach is limited. So I think an influencer needs to be all those things, but they also need to be able to reach people in multiple ways, multiple platforms, not just one or two. I think they need to know how to show up on a live stage, how to show up and connect in a room, how to network powerfully and effectively, how to be a powerful guest on a radio show or a podcast show, how to be great on a panel, how to play well, how to even run their own programs or events. Because if we think about that, we become unlimited. If we can play in every platform out there powerfully, be seen and heard as the expert we are, we can reach more people. So I wanted to talk about some of those things today because I want you to reach as many people as possible. I want you to have the impact that you're called to have, to touch as many hearts and lives as you possibly can. So is it okay if I share some tips in each of those areas? Okay, great. I think I am going to move this because I feel like I'm going back and forth, so give me a moment. Can we still all see it? Okay. Then I'm not running away from you or feeling like that going to the back of the stage. Okay, perfect. So the first area I want to talk about is mindset, because all of this to me is from the inside out. So mindset. We talked about this morning, are you willing? Are you willing to learn what you need to learn, to go where you need to go? Are you willing to let people walk beside you? When I, again, felt slightly tricked stepping into a television channel, and it wasn't that anyone was tricking me, it was what my mind could absorb. I read the contract, they were renewing my contract for radio, and they put in there that I also got a television channel. But you know what my mind read? Television show. Because to me, that was a natural step. That was scary. I could take that next step. I could be seen on that level. I was willing to do that. I signed the contract, sent it in. I felt I was growing and stretching, and I became the best student in the world. I knew nothing about television. Other than, the camera's on and you got to look certain places. Like I knew that, and that was about it. I didn't know how to produce it. I didn't know any of the technical things. I was willing to step where I could serve. So I got on with the head of the television network. They gave me that opportunity to pick his brain and to figure out how we were going to launch what I thought was a TV show. And so again, I had this mindset. I knew there was lots I didn't know. And I became very willing to learn so I could serve and step forward and shine and share in this new media. I'm so glad I did, because what happened on that call is I asked any question I could think of about television and producing a show and pour into me. What haven't I asked? What do I need to know? I was just a sponge. Towards the end of the conversation, he's like, Rebecca, this is our first meeting, my executive producer on, and he goes, great, Rebecca. Excited about your show. I think we've got a good handle on that. So now I'd like to talk about your television channel and when we're launching that. And I was, television channel? And I'm thinking back on the contract I signed, and maybe it did say something about that. I just couldn't quite understand that that's what that was. And I've already signed the contract, and he's going, Rebecca, and this is running through my mind. And my executive producer's on the line. I go, the channel, yeah, we could launch that in January, because January is magic. We can do anything by January. Right? This is August. He goes, January too long. I said, okay, October. He goes, 15th. I go, okay, done. We ended up pushing it back to November 1st. I got off the phone as quickly as possible and gracefully as I could. And I called up my executive producer behind the scenes. I said, what's happening here? A television channel? How did this happen? I was running my life. I don't understand. I was just completely freaked out, scared. I don't know what's happening here. I can't do this. All of those fears. He goes, well, yeah, I thought you would have been a little more excited when you got the contract, but I thought, okay. I go, well, yeah, but I don't know what to do. And he goes, Rebecca, you'll be fine. This sounds an awful lot like when we first talked to you about radio. And you know how that turned out. Well, I don't know. So 7 calls. I call them in the various stages of panic, denial, fear throughout the day. And the reason I know there were 7 calls is because he picked up on the last call. Rebecca, this is your 7th call. How can I help you? And I go, so, because I'd gone through all these stages, I've even called in support and friends and help. Busy day. This is my channel. He goes, yeah. And I can do anything I want with it. He said, yes, it is your channel. I said, well, if it were just about me or just about my message, I would have been given a show. But I was given a platform. Therefore, it's not about me. It's about the people I know who need to reach more people all around the world. And now I have a platform I can build and do that. He goes, yes. I go, so I'm going to call it Empowered Voices, Empowered Connections. Oh, Empowered Voices is another channel later. So Empowered Connections TV. And we're going to bring positive transformational programming to the world. He goes, that's the Rebecca I know. Go build it. And we did. And we launched it by November 1st. And within 3 months, we became the #1 most watched channel on Voice America. And to this day, we still stay in that top 1 to 3 spot. And it's a couple years later now, and we're still holding that space and that spot and have launched our own television network. So I'm sharing some of this to just illustrate some of that mindset. I became very, very teachable, especially when I knew this was new territory for me. And then it was even newer than I thought. It was even bigger than I thought. So I allowed myself to be scared. I allowed myself to go through the processing, the denial, to call in and get help. I called my friend, what's happening here? Help me, let's breathe, and we centered, and I got support. And what was amazing, in that same day, I was able to find my courage, find my strength, and find my purpose in it so that I could step forward and build it. So we need to have a mindset, if we're going places we haven't gone before, to become coachable. We may be amazing experts in what we do, but we may not know how to navigate all of those waters so it's recognized and heard in all of those different medias. So be willing to learn, find people that can support you, and it's okay to be scared. It's okay to release that. It's okay to tap into your roots and find out why, and then lean in and go forward. And when you have a deadline, there's something kind of magical about that. We tend to do it. So perhaps have a mindset that has a time frame attached to it of when it's launching, when we're doing this, having people outside that can support you in that. And here's how you can kind of know you're on a good track. Can I share? I'm not sure everybody wants to see. Okay. Oh, here's what we'll do a lot of the time. We'll set a goal. We're moving in a direction. We're stretching. We're growing. So we start going, do, and then we start going somewhere we haven't gone before. And so our mind goes, uh-oh, this isn't safe. I don't know if I can do this. So we do all different kinds of things to kind of bring us back down to where it's safe, or what I would like to say familiar, that we've been there before. And usually once we start that momentum, because we get momentum going, and there's a follow through of that, there's a bit of a lingering. So we can use that for good, or it can also carry us places perhaps we don't want to go. So what can happen is we stop, whoa, we're going somewhere I haven't gone before. I don't know about this. So we stop doing those things that were moving us to the place we haven't gone before, which is what we said we wanted to do. But then we get a little bit scared and stretched. So we turn that off, and that starts bringing us down. And usually there's enough momentum that'll bring us way below our comfort zone. And we're actually pretty good at getting out of this space. We tap into our friends. We tap into our colleagues. We've been here before. We've been that lower part where we need to get picked up and brought back. And we can have a bit of a roller coaster experience. And where we think we need support is here, to kind of help bring us back. And sometimes we'll recognize it a little bit sooner. But what I really think is we actually need support here as we're getting ready to break through so we can keep the arc going. Yeah. So we need support on the upside with people that perhaps are a little bit further along in that particular way of doing business, visibility, whatever it may be. It's on the upswing so we can keep that momentum going. because otherwise we're shooting a shooting star, but we don't quite know where to go in this space. So having someone help us can help us keep going. And that can help us. We'll still have, I wish I could tell you it's just this smooth, graceful sliding slope up. It's not. There's ups and downs. But what can happen is the ups and downs actually move us up to the next level, to the next level, to the next level as we build those skills and we build that support in on the top side. So mindset, we want to be coachable and we want to find support on that upside. Does that make sense? Okay. And recognize when this is happening. Sometimes we'll go into the contraction. I had this, I was thinking about this. We have the award there today. I was attending an event, and it was a larger event. I don't remember if you were in the room or not, Gary. You may have been. But they had this Client Coach of the Year award. And I'd forgotten they even give it out, and I was attending in the back of the room, and I was in leadership positions, kind of helping a lot, again, behind the scenes as much as possible at that point. And the assistants, the team, they wouldn't let me leave the room. And I thought it was really bizarre. Like, I just wanted to go outside, get a little recentering going on, and they were like, no, they kept keeping me in the room. So I wasn't really listening to what was going on the stage. And then somehow I started to tune in, and they were saying, yeah, she doesn't even know that she's the one receiving this award. And I don't even know all the things they said. I just thought, oh, I wonder who that is. And they went on saying these amazing, glowing things. And then I hear them read my name, that I was the Client Coach of the Year. And I remember being completely shocked, walking up the stage, totally honored. Like, this is a shining moment. I was so ungrounded, I couldn't even remember their names of my very own coaches. Because I just was so ungrounded and kind of shocked and in that space. And I accepted, and I don't know what I said, but I hope it was graceful and appreciative. And then I got off the stage and I went immediately into a contraction and wanted to hide. Like, it was too much visibility. It was too much shining. I was on that top side breaking through, and I didn't have the support. I didn't know what to do in that space. And you know what stopped the contraction? Someone came alongside me and hugged me. I was going into isolation contraction, afraid of standing out on that level, and they came up beside me, put their arm around me, and celebrated with me. And I learned something about myself. I need to have people in my life that will celebrate with me, that it's okay to shine. It's okay to stand out. It's okay to be recognized and receiving. It doesn't take away from anyone else. There's lots of stars in the sky. They all get to shine. And that I can let people come beside me in that moment and celebrate with me. And I didn't go into hiding. I was able to stay in the room because I did. I was making a fast exit. And they stopped and they came with me. So what are some of the things that when you step, you start to feel that fear and that contraction? That's when you're stepping through. That's when you're on the top side and you need to build in some of that support. This is great information to know, because if you're going to have a mindset of an influencer, if you're going to be stepping into that space, you want to know your strengths. You want to know when you need people to walk beside you, because we all need it. Does that make sense? Great. And then having the ability to navigate through multiple medias. So a good starting place for this is looking at where you are right now. And what I mean by multiple medias, are you in the written word? Are you in print? Are you writing? It could be blogs, it could be books, it could be chapters in anthologies, it can be articles in magazines. Are you getting things out there in the written word? And as you're doing that, if it's a yes for you, are you being heard as the expert you are? Are people understanding what you're bringing to the table? Are you feeling that connection and they're feeling it with you? We can also look at, are you on stage? Are you looking for opportunities like that? When you are on stage, are you feeling like you can be you? You can bring all that you've got and really serve the audience. Are you feeling like there are places there that you want to fine tune? An indicator, a place where that can show up, is offers. If you somehow always run out of time to get to the offer, that can be a bit of hiding, because the reason an offer is so important in a presentation, and is actually something I require all of my speakers to do. It doesn't have to be a paid offer, but it needs to be an offer. Because if you can stand up here, and I believe every one of my speakers stands up here powerfully and serves amazingly, if somebody can be served by you, I want them to know how. If they can take another step, I don't want them just to have the hope that maybe someday they could have that in their life. If you're someone they connect with and can help them with that, I want them to be able to lean into a way to do that and know how. So I think offers are really, really important. It's not a selling. Sometimes we get weird about selling and money and that kind of stuff. If that's something that you feel squiggly around, you want to look into that, because that can be a block that can hold you back. So it's really important to be able to share, be able to give that next step to people in a powerful way. So as a speaker, and being heard as the expert that you are. When you're on someone else's stage, or you're on someone else's radio show or podcast, when are you? Because if not, that may be an area to start looking into. If you are, do you feel like you're really being heard? Do you feel like people that are listening are understanding the expert that you are and what you bring to the table, and that you're impacting their life in a positive way? Same thing in television, on panels. Because what people don't always understand is you have to show up a little differently in all of those medias. You can't show up the same way and be heard as the expert you are. You have to navigate a little bit differently in each of those places. For example, on radio, podcast, and this applies to television as well, you have to speak in sound bites. It's different than a presentation or a workshop. Like a workshop, you have like long days or multiple days where you can stretch and fine tune and connect with the audience and share that information and have it evolve. There's a little bit of that kind of an element. But when you're on a segment, you have a finite amount of time. You've got to serve in that space and that time. When you're in radio and television, you've got to have sound bites. Something like I've shared several times today, life is not a solo journey. You don't have to do it alone. We can let people walk beside us, because life isn't a solo journey. That would be one sound bite. I said the message, I expanded, and then I repeated it. Because people who are listening are frequently doing other things while they're listening. So if one voice talks too long, they tune it out a little bit. If there isn't energy moving up and down, they're not always listening. Or they're like, whoa, that was something about solo. Wait, what was that? And so repeating it, then they can hear it. So it's really understanding the media that you're communicating on and how to show up in that space really powerfully. And a tip is listen to a program or a show of someone if you're going to be on their show. That way you'll get a feel for the energy, and you won't be surprised as much on their show if it's very different than what you perhaps expected. And that'll help you stay very grounded and confident in what you're sharing and bringing forth. So those are just a couple tips there to help support you. But you want to see what medias you're in. And if you are in those medias, do you feel like you're really being heard? You're really connecting, you're being seen, you're being understood. And if not, then you want to circle that as an area to get a little support in. Learn a little bit and find a way that you can even find models out there that you admire. I have some of our podcasters right now, or people that are stepping into podcasts and shows. Right now, they're out there listening to other shows and programs, because there's lots of different ways you can structure a show. There are certain key elements you want to have, but then you can find your rhythm within that. And so they can listen to the shows as if they were running it, what they loved about it, what they didn't like about it, what was energizing, and then they can incorporate those favorite things into how they run their program and their show. So what medias are you on, and are you being heard? And then do you have your own platform that you're sharing out on? It could be a podcast, it could be an event, it can be all different kinds of things, but do you have your own platform that you are proactively sharing out on a consistent basis? Weekly is ideal. At least weekly, they are consistently sharing something out on. That's going to help you be easy to find and have influence. People like consistency. They want to know where to be able to find you, and you start to you start to be seen, there we go, as an expert in that arena and a go-to person, having that consistency and sharing it out. And another thing that's really important if you're stepping into that place of influence is that you do need to delegate things. You can't do everything. You can't be everything. So really looking at what are some skills, what are some tools that people that you can bring in and resources to support you on your journey. And here's the way we hide. We love to hide in all or nothing. We may not be ready to have a full-time assistant 100% all at once, and yet we're trying to do everything ourselves, and so we can't get ahead because we're doing everything ourselves, so then we can't get the full-time assistant because we don't have the dollars coming in. It becomes this place we don't feel like we can get out of. So I want to encourage you to look at it a little bit differently, that instead you can start looking at what is a piece that I can get support in. Maybe I can set aside $100 a month, $100 every 2 months, and get $100 of support. You can do a piece at a time. You don't have to instantly jump into this full-time commitment on an ongoing basis. And that's how I do a lot of the work that I do. I started with a piece at a time, and I would get that much support. So you can start taking steps. You can also bring in students that are looking for experience and support. There's a lot of different things that you can do that don't necessarily add additional strain financially when you're looking to step ahead. So start asking the question. You can even do it right hand, left hand. Start asking how, not instantly all or nothing. That's a way we hide. Okay, great. You also need to grow your list. Part of what will open up platforms and stages to you is the size of your list. That is also your direct influence. So it's really important that you have activities that you're growing your list proactively. Some of the ways you can do that is having free gifts that you give that people can sign up for and go on your list and stay in touch with you that way. You want to stay in touch with your list on a regular basis. But your list is like your tribe, your people that you communicate with directly. And if you don't have a list yet, or you're just starting, set the first goal as 500, then 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 people on your list, 7,000, 10,000. You just take it step by step. But every one of those levels will open up more doors. And this is your direct email list. You also want to grow your social media reach, but that's tracked a little bit differently. Okay. That's where we get into your influence of 1 million. We start looking at your social media too. So we can get a little bit overwhelmed on social media. There's so many different platforms. Start with one, get that one down, then add another, add another. Really important on social media that you are consistent, that you're not just posting something and then disappearing and not responding to it. You can promote an event. This is coming up. What people do is they'll do that, and then you don't see anything else. They'll schedule a little event. And then a little bit later on, you see this canceled. So if promote it, do it. It's important. You can always record it. It can always be something that becomes a virtual program. Secondly, if people respond and share it, comment, say thank you. It's not a one-way communication arena. It's a relationship that you're building. So you connect, you like, you say thank you, you promote others, you comment on other people's things. But do one, like LinkedIn, whatever it is, LinkedIn, Facebook, what are you on? Instagram, Twitter, great, Pinterest. So get one where you're comfortable and you're communicating, then add another, and then another. It's really good to be on at least 3 that you're consistently on and communicating out on. And a great tip is to make sure it's kind of where your people are, and that when you're sharing out, that you're doing it with the message that you're looking to bring out, what you're bringing to the world, because the world is seeing it. We try to separate social, personal, professional. If you're sharing it out, the world is seeing it. So be aware of that, the messages that you're sending out. And then we've talked about how you don't have to do it alone. Look for ways that you can collaborate with others, that you can leverage. If you have a podcast show, if you have a radio show, maybe find a buddy that has one too. You can be on each other's show. You can even share commercial space and airtime. You can be part of collaborative projects like we talked about the anthologies. You can do things in a leveraged way. You don't have to build everything on your own. So look for those opportunities. And if you lean into them, show up in them. Fully shine. You can step back. You can let the tide go. You can let everyone else, like anthologies, you can let everyone else promote it. We'll get it to bestseller. You'll be a bestseller. Or you can be front and center in all the promotion that's going on, do a little video around it, how it ties into your message, and you become a rock star getting to leverage with that whole campaign and the wave of exposure that's going on with it. So I encourage you, if you decide to be part of a collaborative project, whatever it is, it could be telesummits, whatever they are, fully show up. Take advantage of those opportunities to be very visible and become a leader, become an influencer. You can step into that space. Great. So with that, I had just a couple things I wanted to share with you. But actually, before I do that, while those are being passed out, any questions about any of this information that I've shared that you're wondering? You're good? Okay. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, we were talking about the medias and so forth, about are you being heard?
Mm-hmm.
So can you expand on that a little bit?
So knowing how you're heard in medias? Or sure. So part of it, when you share it out, frequently you'll get feedback. I loved your show. I heard what you said. That's amazing. Are people resharing it out? When you listen to the replay, so hot tip here, extra credit, bonus opportunity, multiple gold stars. Listen to the shows that you produce or you're interviewed on as if you were a listener or a viewer, not the guest, not the host, as if you were experiencing it. And that's one of the indicators. Did you understand what was being said? Did it compel you? Was it engaging for you? So that's a way you can check in. And you can see what was inspiring and exciting, do more of that. What was a little more dry or not engaging, do less of. So that can be a way that you can do a quick check-in. You can have people listen to the shows and programs. What's interesting about when you put things out into radio, television, you only ever hear a fraction of the impact you truly have. So when you get a comment, love your show, you can multiply that by a much bigger number of people that are truly listening and echoing that sentiment. When people are saying, I love your energy, or I love this or that, that's really great. What you want to hear is, like I shared earlier, I know life is not a solo journey. Oh, they heard my message. I had my executive producer one day, he answered the phone. I didn't do this morning, but there's a share I do sometimes about, what are they going to do? We claim who we are. So I'm the Rebecca. My grandmother taught me this. So he picks up the phone and he goes, what are they going to do? I'm the executive producer. I started laughing. I went, he heard my message. He's listening to my show. Those are indicators that you're being heard. When you hear some of those key messages echoed back to you, then you're being heard. When someone's sharing it out and they share that segment, they heard your message. Does that? Yeah, good. Any other quick questions? So then I'm going to transition, give the floor back to our amazing MC, and I want to thank you, and I look forward to all of you stepping into your amazing influence and having that impact that you're looking to have. Thank you. Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message. Help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message. Hi, I'm Rebecca Hall Gruyter, and I'm the producer of the Empowered Connections TV channel. And I wanted to personally invite you to come on over, enjoy our amazing shows. We are all about empowering women. We're all about transforming lives. We're empowering men to really step out and be all they can be. We are looking for programming and shows to bring things to the next level. So if you are somebody that feels a show birthing within you, you have a calling to bring your show to life and touch the world, please reach out to me. I'd love to have a conversation with you. We are launching new programs and shows every week, every month, because we're going to change the world. I look forward to talking to you.